First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's my first time in Brazil, and I'm very impressed. I come from a small country called Denmark, just on top of Germany and just beneath Sweden. And we are 5 million people in all, so it's relatively small also in relation to Sao Paulo. But thanks very much for the invitation. Now my Portuguese is not so good, so just to say that I'm not longer working for government. I am now in charge of a big project called Copenhagen Spinouts, but I'm working several years for the Danish government as well. All right, it's very difficult to follow, to be after Augusto with this wonderful speech of his. And mine will probably be a little more boring, you could say, because I will try to give an example on how we have broken down the traditional value chain in Denmark in a special project that has made us work in a much more open innovation way. It has turned out to be quite simple, and it seemed to work fine. It's a very close collaboration between industry, public research, seed funding, and incubators. Good. In 2010, there was a joint growth strategy between private and public partners saying that we wanted to be one of the better regions in the world doing biotech companies. We would like to, now Sweden is present here, so we would like to come up to the league of the region of Stockholm, or the region of Boston. And the reason why this strategy was written was that we were quite poor in doing university spin-outs. We had our own commercialization survey. I can see that on the top, doing only 10 spin-outs a year. And that was for the university hospitals, and national laboratories. There was also an OECD report from 2009 saying, well, there's a lot of potential in this region. There are big Danish companies, there are excellent research, etc., but the outcome is not good enough. So, public and private partners, branch organizations from industry, the public hospitals, the universities, joined hands to say, we have to do this together in a very intense collaboration if we want to change this. And that actually became Copenhagen Spinouts Consortium, universities, innovation incubators, investment funds, and industry. A little background maybe is good to know here. In year 2000, we had a new act that said, it was our Bayh-Dole Act, which says that all inventions that were done in the universities or the hospitals should go through the tech trans office. Before that, the inventors could go directly to industry. Well, in the beginning, it was quite hard for industry to cope with the new way of doing things. And they also needed some years before the universities became professional in doing technology transfer. And there was a lot of myths. So if you talk to the industry, the myths could be working with technology transfer, it's very slow. They only have legal advisors, no one with industry background. It can be very difficult because people doing negotiation can actually not say yes or no to the propositions that we give them. But if you ask the universities about the myth, a myth could be, well, if you deal with industry, they don't want to pay market value for the inventions that you have. Well, they may be greedy, they want access to all kind of related areas, etc. Now recently, there has been some new analysis showing that companies working together with universities in Denmark actually really benefit on profit. And also another analysis showing that the companies working with universities are very satisfied. So you could say we were quite good at doing licenses now, but not so good at doing spin-outs. And a very good start for close collaboration is a mutual problem. So the goal was here to build more companies, and we promised to deliver 21 sustainable biotech companies. Sustainable, I will come back to what we mean by that. And of course, the impact will be more jobs in the regions, not only more companies, but also jobs related around the companies, building a better and bigger cluster, and also to change the culture of the universities to get more and better inventions coming up, and also more license and research agreements, both from the projects that succeed, but also from the projects that don't succeed. And that, of course, better entrepreneurship culture. We had 5.4 million euros, both from the EU Regional Fund and also from a lot of different partners, and from the Copenhagen the Capital Growth Forum. What is special about the project here is that the partner group here, what normally would be, there are some that are drivers and then there are some sleeping partners. But here, everybody is extremely active within every individual project. So we have the research institutions, University of Copenhagen, Technical University of Denmark, and Capital Region Hospitals, of course giving the inventions to the project. Then there is a solid backup from branch organizations. So industry went into this. Danish Biotech is a biotech and industry organization, and they helped to make a list here of mentors from industry. So very experienced mentors from the biotech industry said, we would like to volunteer for this prestige list of mentors so that we can come in and help new projects develop in the right direction. Of course, they wouldn't do that just because they like to, but also because this is an important network they would like to be a part of. Maybe they will be the guys sitting in the boards of the companies rising in this new biotech cluster. Danish Association of the Pharmaceutical Industry, also a very important partner. And for both these branch organizations, it's also very important because they help us also to have the political backup to the whole project. Then we have innovation incubators that invest in startups in Denmark, both with public money, and they have something like a factor 6 of external money to invest in startup companies. We have seed funds over here, Novo Seeds, as you possibly know, and Seed Capital, one of the very big seed funds in Denmark as well. And then research parks that have, you could say, developed several programs to accelerate startups called Accelerate Bio, etc. And they also joined the project here. Well, first of all, we used some money to buy in technology scouts that had industry background, that had patent background, that had research background, and to set them into the research environments. First, we went through the rector level, dean level, etc., to have the blessing from above, and then took contact to all the innovative research groups to talk to them, to help them solve all kind of problems, not only the spin-outs, but to show them that we actually had some real competences that were very useful in each and every of the research groups that dealt with commercialization. As soon as there was a project that was interesting to Copenhagen spin-outs, we form a team where there is a technology scout, a project pilot from the Tech Trans office or the project, the Copenhagen spin-out project, mentors from the industry taken in because they have a competence profile that is very useful for the project, investors and innovation incubators. So they're there from the very beginning to help form the project in the right direction. The investors doesn't necessarily invest in the projects, but they will be advisors to see that it develop in a way so that other investors would like to join and invest in the actual projects. In this, you could say in this phase here, we do also have courses and clinics, you call them, where the research parks come with their experts to give us some kind of 360 degrees evaluation of the projects. And we do have our own proof of concept money. I don't know how it is in Brazil, but in Denmark, if you need real proof of concept money for a project, it's very difficult and it takes time. You make an application, in Denmark at least two times a year. You can go for the money. Maybe you will have it. You will know it after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. In this project, we do have our own proof of concept money, and you can have it within 3 days. 3 days. That is for experimentation, for buying in assistant, for external consultancy, whatever needed. It's not big money, it's 40,000 euro, but it's very important because it can be used to keep up the momentum. The momentum is important for industry, but also for the researchers, because they want to do everything else as well. And then voila, then we have a spin out. And we've been going on for 10 months, didn't know if it was a good idea, but already now we have 21 potential spin-outs under development in the project. And that was actually quite surprising for us, because it seems that both the researchers, the research groups, the deans, the industry, and the seed funds really want to join this. And we have more and more mentors coming from a very high-level industry saying, we want to join this. It's an interesting project. Let's do it together. I'll just speak about 4 key elements in the project to get a little more deep here. We have 3 focus areas. We have industrial biotech and food, pharmaceuticals, and medtech diagnostics. These are chosen because it's very strong research bases at the 3 institutions that are covered by this project, but also that we have the strong Danish companies where we do have special competences, business competences that can help, and also the very global networks that are important if we want to have venture from abroad. And then we do have experience with spin-out creation and financing from the Danish Seeds Fund and Innovation Incubators. So you can say we actually do have all the tools, we just have to make them work together. And also, we agreed on from the very start to drop all the, you could say, all the philosophy. We want to do screwdrivers. Screwdrivers that could help the tech trans offices do what they needed to do. So together with external consultancy, with the industry, with the investors, we made scouting models, stage gate models, patent strategy models, really basic manuals. But you know, in the tech trans offices are quite big turnover of people. So it's important to have manuals so everybody knows what are the basic things, what should you know, what should you ask, what should you do. So have a kind of coherent structure steering tools. And then of course the development of the proof of concept. The international profile was also important, even though we're a small country and it's a relatively small project. International collaborations. Organizations in Europe, we have 2 big tech trans organizations, ASTP and Proton Europe. And we went in collaboration especially with the ASTP that have a lot of extremely good spin-out people from, for example, Max Planck and other institutions. Also, German venture fund like Gründerfonds and other venture companies were taken in to say, maybe you can help us, maybe you can, but you have a large network. Couldn't we be a part of that network? And they actually on wall to help. Site visits, best practice, of course, universities, regions like Bayern, countries like Israel, how they do it, how can we get best practice in. Network conferences like this, international successes from all over the world that we invite to Denmark to give talks about how did they do it. It doesn't have to be complicated. A new thing that we start developing together with some connections in Sweden, tech trans officers in residence, we call it. We are quite good in licenses. In Sweden, they are very good at doing spin-outs. Maybe it's a good idea to take in some tech trans officers from Sweden to the Danish offices and some Danish tech trans officers to the Swedish tech trans offices. So we can all benefit from the competences that we do have. And then, of course, because we're a small country, all information available in English. About creating the right culture at the departments. I told you that we hired people that have another profile that they normally have in the tech trans offices. We also had a bit more money to pay them, but people with a research, industry, and patent background, because they can actually help there immediately, so that there can be a very good confidence to the research and research groups. Tech ID, another project within the bigger project, where local leaders are drawn in to help to evaluate projects. And not because the local leaders know about how to evaluate on a commercial basis, but because it's important that they take it seriously, that they back it up, that they know who on the department is good at doing innovations, who is using much time to develop their research into commercial dimension. And then involve industry and advisory role at a very, very early stage. They would really like to do it. Of course, one has to be sure exactly how to do it, but it has seemed to in this project that they're actually very eager to help in a way that is not obstructive. And of course, awareness campaigns, testimonials, both from the researchers like the researchers who would like to get in. That's it, we did it. Okay, we didn't become multimillionaires, but we actually made it and it was fun. Also to show that you can be a top researcher, you want to do a spin-out, but you don't have to leave the university. You can have your PhD, your postdocs, etc., and a very important hub in the industry with the company and a super research group at universities, etc. And then awards, and some of the best awards are awards where cash is also a part of the prize, because it will help the inventions coming. Some challenges, just to say that there are a lot of different challenges. There are a lot of challenges that have to do with open innovation, but we have a lot of challenges that has to do with all kind of things on every level. And here I have not taken in the challenges of making industry following EU regulations on money from EU Commission, because that is something very special. But on project level, it's quite difficult to collaborate across principal differences and agendas from investors, industry, and universities, because we are here for different reasons, but everybody wants to have more spin-outs. University, a very important thing is to get full support for third leg activities. That's not normal on every university or every hospital, that third leg activities are important and can be helpful also for research. Then for the Tech Trans office to find human resources to go through with spin-out, but also to find the directors. And that will also has a lot of help from seed funds and innovation incubators, because they know which entrepreneurs that can be taken into the companies at a quite early stage to help the development, and also take a seed when you actually get your company up and starting. Department level, to make the local leaders support a brain drain backing up by talking to their good scientists and ask them to do a spin-out. That is a challenge. And also to researchers to minimize the risk for the scientists doing spin-outs. Then the spin-out is actually sustainable. When we say sustainable, we mean it in the way that normally when we do spin-outs, the spin-out is done within the environment of the university, of university hospital. When it's ready, you maybe get some proof of concept money. Then afterwards, you go to the innovation incubator or the seed funds, and maybe they say no to the project because it's not developed in the right way or whatever. But here, sustainable means that if you have the whole range of tech trans players in the field building on the same project from the very beginning, you're much more sure that you will end up with a project that they would like to invest in. That was that for me. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to know more about Copenhagen spin-outs, you're welcome to look in at our homepage, copenhagenspinouts.dk. Thank you very much.